for allowing the people of Choma Central constituency to add our voice on this motion on the floor of this House. And at the outset, sir, I have to declare that I am a former police officer, assistant superintendent in the Zambia Police, which is a superior position in the Zambia Police. And like we say, once a police officer, always a police officer. So as I am debating, Mr. Chairman, I am actually a police officer and will remain so forever. Mr. Chairman,
you are debating as a member of parliament. In parliament. Continue.
Thank you for the guidance, Mr. Chairman. I will always be a member of parliament, but one who has been and will always be a police officer. I thank you for your guidance. Mr. Chairman, let me begin my submission this afternoon. Number one, by bringing to your attention that despite the many rulings and guidances that you have offered on the floor of the House in respect to how members of this House, as elected members of Parliament, should go about their business in their constituencies, namely that they need not inform police about their meetings because it is within the realm of their normal work as members of Parliament, as representatives, to meet their people. Police on the ground have continued to insist that when members of Parliament meet their electorates, they need to inform police. This has come several times, and several guidances by yourself have been given to Zambia Police. I would like to take this opportunity, Mr. Chairman, that the High Command of Zambia Police, since they are here, they do translate that kind of, they should be able to guide.
Order, indeed, yes. We just debate without even saying those who are here. I think it will be safer. So let's just debate issues, and of course, mentioning somebody's title, you can. Continue.
Mr. Chairman, I haven't mentioned anybody, and I would like to say I'm taking advantage of this motion that the Police High Command, in attendance, going by the guidance you have been giving, should be able to translate it to their officers in various provinces, districts, going to the stations and police posts, so that your members are no longer inconvenienced. Because it has been agreed by this House that your members, in meeting their electorates, they are pursuing the role for which they were elected. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, I would like to talk about the conditions of service of Zambia Police Service officers, that they are pathetic. In this era and age, Zambia police officers, given the importance of the role they play, Mr. Chairman, if you are going to have to look at a pay slip of an officer, Zambia Police, Mr. Chairman, it is abhorrent. And someone is saying that is why I left. That is not the reason why I left. I just left to come to this House so that I can speak for them because they don't have a union. It is high time this government began to look at the organs of government that keep the state machinery, keep going as a going concern, and also maintain the peace, law and order in this country, and that those officers put their lives on the line. At the moment, those officers are working under very difficult circumstances. No wonder, Mr. Chairman, year in, year out, TIZ, Bribe Payers and Corruption Index, names Zambia Police Traffic Division as being corrupt. It is because of poor conditions of service. Yet you have other people within the same government living and waxing in luxury who do less work than the work that police officers do to preserve life, property, and peace of this country. It is high time this government began to pay premium where it matters most. We have seen a lot of wastage of public resources and causation of unnecessary by-elections. We have witnessed a lot of abuse and plunder of national resources that we have been able to enumerate day in and day out on the floor of this House at the detriment of where it matters most. We are calling on this government not only to need and use police in by-election, sometimes at the detriment of the opposition, but to use police as partners in development and the preservation of peace and unity of this country, and therefore consider to pay them proportionate to the work that they do. Mr. Chairman, under that same issue of conditions of service, I would like to take this opportunity to talk about the injustice which is happening in Zambia Police, where officers who get a meager salary, as low as 3,000 kwacha. Mr. Chairman, as a salary for an officer in Zambia Police, 3,000 kwacha. And then they labor to save and be able to send themselves to school. A constable sends him or herself to school and obtains a certificate, a diploma or a degree, and returns to the station and continues to work year in, year out without promotion, without being placed commensurate to their level of education. This is demoralizing officers in the Zambia Police. And the minister and the High Command would do well to rectify this, because I'm aware that Zambia Police are on a crusade to begin to improve their image by also having a lot of their officers attend higher education. But those this far who have attended higher education are not being placed and paid commensurate to the level of education that they have attained. I think this injustice should be addressed. Promotion should not be based on connection. It should be based on merit and qualification. Mr. Chairman, let me now move on to talk about the battered image of Zambia Police. And the little background of it is that once Zambia Police realized that times have moved on, Zambia Police, through the establishment of government, decided to move the image of Zambia Police from Zambia Police being Zambia Police Force to being Zambia Police Service. That change in nomenclature, Mr. Chairman, was meant to bring Zambia Police closer to the community, because Zambia Police realized that whereas they were acting as a force and be able to distance themselves from the community, they needed to go closer to the community and work with members of the community as partners in the provision of the service that Zambia Police Service is created to do. In that regard, Mr. Chairman, Zambia Police went on making certain adjustments, such as employing graduates from the university, and I'm happy that I was in the second batch of graduates from the university who were employed and enrolled in Zambia Police to promote a good image of Zambia Police. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, that Zambia Police, now as a service, though may not have changed that law from force to service, began to promote accountability and transparency by way of introducing uniforms with name tags, so that a service provider who is a police officer is able to be identifiable by a member of the public who interact with them, so that in an event of that officer misbehaving or even providing a good service, he or she could be easily identifiable. Mr. Chairman, what have you seen now under the current prevailing circumstances? You have a situation where, when you have by-elections especially, police officers put masks, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, masks. And I know that Zambia Police, within the dress code of Zambia Police, there is nowhere where a mask is part of the dress code. It is not part of the prescribed dress code. Yet they wear these masks in order to disguise their faces, working contrary to what the service wants to achieve, namely transparency to identify service providers who are police officers. And recently the Commissioner for Lusaka was asked, why do you wear masks? They said because they like the work, it's for fun. Now imagine, Mr. Speaker, that because we also like our work here at Parliament, you will wear a mask and I also wear a mask, Mr. Chairman, because we like our work. What would become of this house in masks, sir? I think that Zambia Police have a duty to come out and be transparent. There is no more need to appear as though you are militia. You are a militia group fighting in some war somewhere in these war-torn countries. We are a peaceful country, and you are an image that must mirror to your citizens and to the international community that Zambia is a peaceful nation. This far, you have been painting a bad image to the citizens and the international community that Zambia is slowly sliding into a police state where the militia, police militia in masks and identifiable, have now taken center stage. It's no longer leadership, it's rulership. Under PF, a bad government, which has made police to look bad when they are good people. Police are now more associated with brutality and violence. And when you talk about the violence equation in this country, people will talk about UPND, PF, police are the ones who should be accountable for violence. No, Mr. Chairman, I would like to submit once and for all. UPND, PF, and police are not responsible for violence in Zambia. The one responsible for violence is the Commander-in-Chief, President Edgar Lungu, and his failure. And his failure to be able to administer rule of law.
Point of order.
His failure to administer rule of law accounts for violence in this country. Period. Is non-negotiable.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Point of order.
Have you finished, Mr. Mweetwa?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Have you finished?
Sir. I'm being
A point of order is raised.
Mr. Chairman, I am compelled to rise on a point of order. As you appreciate, Mr. Chairman, this young lady rarely rises on a point of order. Please listen to the princess talking. Mr. Chairman, is this honorable member of parliament in the name of Mweetwa, member of parliament for Choma Central, in order to debate so badly without any facts that is laying on the table, without any analysis and thinking through of what he's saying, to bring His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Commander-in-Chief, to bring him in disrepute because of the pangas that his party wielded all over. And when they go and commit violence, they come in and abuse this august house to bring people who have nothing to do with violence. Is it in order, Madam Mr. Chairman? I need your serious ruling.
I followed Mr. Mweetwa. I followed him very well. And all he said was something which, when the executive stands to debate, definitely they will respond to. And the other point is that I think we have been guiding the House to avoid bringing outsiders into our debates. Order. We know that rule very well. And even if you want to drag an outsider into the debate, we know the rules to follow. So, those who follow, and even the member who is about to conclude, I think we need to take that into, into the consideration, so that we continue debating smoothly without being disturbed. However, the executive is coming after the backbenchers debate. Mr. Mweetwa, continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I would like to place on record that blame game, pointing fingers at each other as political players, won't work. If you have a house and the children are indisciplined, it means you as the head of that family, you are a terrible failure. Mr. Chairman, under President Mwanawasa, we never saw this level of lack of rule of law and lawlessness and impunity and indiscipline, because he said the law will follow you and there was supremacy of the law. So now that there is this violence, it has to rest at the doorsteps of the Commander-in-Chief, who is a failure. No two ways about it. Mr. Chairman, let me conclude by saying political interference.
Mr. Mweetwa, that is the kind of debate which provoke the other side to stand on points of order. That is not in order. That is not in order. Continue.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Political interference has undermined professionalism in the Zambia police. You saw what happened in Sesheke. Police officers who were trying to apply the rule of law, they have been retired in national interest. I think that the crafters of that law did not intend that these should be the absurd consequences. And Minister of Home Affairs, you have a legacy. You are my colleague. You have a legacy to protect. What happened in Sesheke should not repeat itself. Those people have families to look after, the same way you and me and others do. Let us allow police to act freely. Finally, your ministry have a duty to promote human rights. Unlike coming here to say we'll take drastic action, we'll swing into action. This is not rulership, it's leadership. Under Article 8, you are mandated to promote democracy and not to promote fear through the police. The police are there also to help the promotion of democracy. Sir, I thank you.
Dr. Chanda.